Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. And I do apologise about Monday. I wasn't here. I was at the hospital, but I'm back now. Right, so last week I said with my personal haul we were going to do the hydrangea, and I just want to show you a really quick way of doing that. This is the die, and I've already cut it apart, ready to be able to die cut it. So I've got some Walmart watercolour cardstock, and I've cropped it down, so I've got two pieces. I've got a smaller piece and a larger piece. Now I do apologise if there's any lag on my camera. There's all kinds of weird things going on outside today. Now the larger piece is going to be for whatever colour I decide I want for the hydrangea. So, you know, pinks, blues, a little bit of lime green, whatever colour you want to make it. And then this smaller piece is just for the leaves. So it's just one sheet cropped down. Now the first thing I want to do... Oh, I need to show you this. From my little haul, I used one of my favourite little doggy stamps and put it on there and coloured it in with some alcohol markers. Isn't he sweet? I love that. I'm going to pop that into my journal somewhere. So I just wanted to share that with you. Right, so I'm just going to move my stamp block, because sometimes I do use that for blending. But I'm going to try and use the palette today. And I'm just going to mist a little bit of water onto here. Now, my desk is, you know, one of those wipeable vinyl stick down rolls that I stick on my table. And then when it gets too yucky, I just peel it off and stick something else on. It's a great way to preserve your tabletop from stains. Right, so I've brushed on all of that onto there, and I'm using a Jane Davenport palette. So this is the one that I'm using, and I am going to be using this big brush to do it. I'm just wondering what the name of this one is. I haven't got a clue, but it's the aquary blue type tin. Right, so my paper is lovely and curled up, because that's what happens when you get it really wet. And I love this pale blue. I'm trying to move the palette up here so that you can see it. So I'm going to go into that. I'd already pre-squirted it, because, you know, with watercolours they can be a bit dry. So I'm just going to hold that with my finger, and I'm just going to brush it on. You don't have to be fancy or anything. And if you've got any bits that are left over, you can always save them to make a little tag for another project. So I'm just making it nice and blobby. And things always look different on camera than they do on my actual desk, I do have to say. So I've got plenty of blue down there. I don't know about you, but my hydrangeas, they change colour year to year depending on the acidity in the soil. So if I acidify them too much, then they tend to go a much darker blue. And I try, when I'm sort of like fertilising my blueberries, just to put a little bit on there, but I try to make it so that I've got pink in there as well. So I do have my pink here. I'm just going to hold it. There you go. That might not look like pink, but this is shocking bright pink. I'm just going to put a bit in to get that kind of hydrangea colour. Now, you might be looking at it and thinking, you know, it's a bit blobby and a bit weird, but once you get your die cutting done, all of that kind of blends in. Of course, you could do it in cream and white, a little bit of lime green. There is a hydrangea called the snowball hydrangea, which is really pretty. But this is kind of the variety that I have in my garden. So I'm kind of pushing the colour through there and thinking maybe just a little bit more pink. Which, when you put it with the blue, gets kind of purple tints to it. And then when we start die cutting, all of those colours will kind of start to blend. So I'm leaving, I think, this side of the paper. I'm just going to move this palette so that you can see I've got a lot of pink here, but on this side it's more blue, so that when I put the dye down, you know, you're going to get all your different shades, which is what you usually get. Now I need to let this dry, and when it's dry I'm going to die cut it, and then I'll be right back. Okay, this sheet is actually dry now, just a little bit damp. But what I remembered is I forgot to show you the green for the leaves. But can you see the colours of the hydrangea in that? And dependent on where you place the dyes, because if you look at the dye, you've got the large background and there's little elements there that will pop up, but you've got all of the separate flowers to glue on top. So we've got these leaves, we've got a large one, and then we've got a medium one, and we've got two small leaves in there. So I forgot to share that bit with you. So I'm just going to move that one out of the way, and I'm going to squirt this up. And I did wash my my brush out, and of course this is going to bend up again, so you don't worry about that. It goes relatively flat when it's dry, and it'll run through the dye machine anyway. So we've got oodles of water on top of there. And now I'm using the same palette. I'm not sure if you can get these anymore, but I've got two greens right there. I've got a darker green and I've got a lime green. So I want to go in with my lime first. Oh, my brush is actually touching into the other side, but that's okay. So I'm just covering all of it, because you never know how many leaves you need. And as I was saying, you know, you can always save your scraps to make tags or cut out other little elements for things, you know, like the grass for Easter and all stuff like that. Right, so we've got that in there. I'm going to go for a little bit more lime along the edge, and then I'm going in with the dark. Just get it going in little blobs. You can see I am not being tidy at all. Now for the leaf, I quite want to soften it, so I've got a piece of paper towel here that I've just got my fingers into, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of, you know, backwards and forwards, see what happens there. Little bit of better blending of the colour. And that'll make it quicker to dry as well. So I'm going to stick with that. I quite like that. And of course I need to get the yuck off the table. I need to give that a squirt of water. That I think I will. As I say, my background is just that sticky contact paper, and I'll just peel it off and put something new down when I'm ready. So that'll do for that. Right, that needs to dry, and now I'm going to run off and die cut, and I do hope that it's not all blurred. Yeah, so first of all, before I dry it, I'm just going to pick it up and show you. So you've got all of those different colours going on in there. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've done my die cutting, and what I did was I'll scoop those there. I cut the hydrangea base once, and I cut the petal flowers that come with it, and I run that die through twice. I've got the two leaves, which is large and medium, two small in opposite directions, and you also get a stem. So this is the base of it. Now you can see if I flip it over, you've got pop through sections that you can just gently pop out. Now I've got my poke tool, I've got a Tombow marker, and I've also got my pickup tool and my glue on the desk. So you can just, you know, very gently hold that and start pushing through elements of it just to make them pop up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on just poking gently, and I'll come back when I've fluffed enough of what I want to fluff up. Right, see you in a minute. I've done my little bit of fluffing up. Now there are more areas that you could fluff up if you wanted to, but I've decided just to go with that little bit there. So I'm going to pop that down, decide which way round feels right to you, and you can start piecing on your larger bits. Now you can just tease them if you want to, so that you've got a little bit of shape there. But one of the things that I wanted to do was to see what a little bit of green in the centres would look like. So I've got Tombow 133 here, and I'm just going to just mottle dab it, because oftentimes you'll find that hydrangeas do have quite a limey looking centre. Do you know what I mean? So decide if that's something you like or not. Personally, looking at what I've done, I'm going to do without that one. And I'm just going to glue them straight in, and then I'm just putting glue into my centres, and then I'm going to fluff them up again afterwards. So of course, being watercolour cardstock, they are still white underneath. So I'm going to go down onto there. Whoops. Those little bits that you fluffed up will add, you know, a little bit of depth and detail. That's my bow. Having a good shake, bless him. I think he wants to go outside. So I'm just kind of aligning those with the things that I can see underneath. And then I am going to come back and fluff them up. But I do love how watercolouring like this can make something look just like a hydrangea. Now that might be excess. As I say, I did run them through twice, and you probably don't need to. Please excuse my throat. So it could be that if you did that, you've got extra little petals for your card, or you could pop it on the front of a gift bag. In fact, it would make the front of a gift bag look really special, wouldn't it? So I'm kind of selecting things that are slightly different tones to what's underneath them, just for a little bit of variety. I'm going to go one to the edge there. I mean, I shouldn't say it because I don't usually do it, but I'm trying to make a conscious effort of not getting too carried away, which is really hard for me. So I'm going to go two more of these smaller ones down. I'm going to pop one on here, and then I'm going to pop one down. I think I'm going to go here. I'm just going to slide that under. They don't have to line up perfectly. So you can see I wasted one, and there's about 5 or 6 left, which you could, you know, always add near a sentiment or something. But we're only doing the embellishment today. Right, I'm just going to let those dry for a second so we can fluff them up, and I'll be right back. Okay, that should do it. Now, it does come with a stem, which if you're somebody who likes to make large cards, it's certainly going to give you an 8-inch flower, I reckon, if you pop it directly underneath the centre of it. So I'm going here. Oh, I must tell you something really exciting. Probably not exciting for you, but something really exciting happened yesterday when I was out at the hospital. I don't know if you've heard of an online service called Chip Drop, because I've got my my little orchard, and I always put chippings down, bark chips, and they're so expensive to buy. But if you sign up to Chip Drop, if you've got local tree companies, you can get a free delivery of chips. And I was so excited to see that they dropped me off a mountain yesterday. So I'm so grateful for that. I doubt that the tree company is watching this, but I am really, really grateful, because they just suppress the weeds and make my life a lot easier. Right, I'm just going around here now, looking at where I've glued them down and where I want to fluff them up. So I'm going to go there, and then I've got this one here. And of course, when you start doing things like this, you might decide that maybe you wanted to glue more on or not, but I'm going to leave mine like this. I think it's really pretty. So that's what we've got so far. There's still elements here, you know, that need popping up. So I can go along that with my finger and get that done. And then of course we've got our lovely leaves, so you know, it's entirely up to you how you position these. I mean, you do find in hydrangeas that you can have little bits of, you know, leaf coming through flower sections as they're growing. So I think I'm going to pop those two there, and then I'm going to put my big ones underneath. So I'm just going to get my glue again. And pop that one into there. Squish that flat just for a minute, and then lift it up. And then I'm going to do the same by tucking that one underneath that larger one. I actually remember when I bought my hydrangea, and I think it was about $15, and it came in a 1 gallon pot, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, that's really expensive. But now that it's huge, you realise just how expensive they are. I mean, it's taken me 10 years to get a good sized bush, but I actually looked online, and to replace what I've got, which is why I take good care of it, would cost about $200 or $300. So hydrangeas are horribly expensive. I'm going to go there. And I don't necessarily want it to look like it's, you know, got wings, but just position it where you want. In fact, I do prefer that kind of angle down there. I think that looks a lot nicer. So I'm going to pop some glue just here and stick it. Yeah, it'd be nice with a third leaf actually. And then make sure that's all popped up. Alright, let's lift that. Let's have a good look. Isn't that lovely? Really dreamy. And you could certainly pop pearls into the middle as well if you wanted to. But I just think that's so pretty. And if you stuck that onto a gift bag, you know, I'm going to bend that down further because it's not quite dry yet. Then it would just look great. You could put piles of leaves under there if you wanted to. And then just have your extra little bits of petals sticking out from underneath other leaves. But I do love that, and I thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope you have an absolutely awesome day. As usual, all links below, and I will see you on Friday. Bye.